Good morning, dear students. In this class, just I want to repeat the first unit, the basic introduction to the object-oriented programming languages. So, in this unit, mainly the first unit focus on the introduction to the object-oriented programming and the features of the object-oriented programming. What are the basic concepts of OOPs and applications of object-oriented programming languages, the basic introduction to the Java, that is data types, keywords, and what are the input output statements. So these things you are going to learn in the first unit. Okay. So the first focus on the introduction to the object oriented programming languages. Okay. So before come to the object oriented programming languages, what are the earlier programming languages? So before object-oriented programming, a very popular programming language is the structured programming language. So C is the structured programming language. You have learned the C language in the previous semester. So it is the very popular language that was used almost in every way before the object-oriented concept was introduced. Okay. So what are the drawbacks of C language? What are the drawbacks of structured programming language? Those drawbacks, limitations are overcome by the object-oriented concepts. The main drawback of C language is it provides no security. That is the main drawback. And you may see some differences between the C language and OOPS concepts, that is Java language. So here are some differences. So look at this. How Java and C differs. So what are the difference between C and Java language? So this is the overview of Java language. So in C is the structured. In C language, C is the functional oriented programming language. That is, if you want to develop the software product using the C language, the software product should be divided into the functions to achieve the modularity. And in the previous classes, I explained what is modularity. Modularity means you are dividing the work into some smaller parts, and then you are solving the smaller sub-problems. You are getting the sub-solutions, and finally you are combining the sub-solutions to get the solution of the original problem. That is the modularity concept. What is the advantage of modularity? We can easily solve the complex problems. We can easily get the solution to the complex problems within less time, short period of time. Okay. So not only that, so many advantages are there using the modularity approach. Modularity concept, it is not the time to discuss now. In the next semester, you will learn the modularity concepts in the software engineering subjects. Okay. Okay, now look at the difference between C and Java. To achieve the modularity concept, to achieve the modularity approach in C language, we are dividing the work into functions. So it is function oriented. But in Java, you are dividing the work into the classes and object. So it is object oriented. Okay. If you divide the work into functions, then that language is termed as function oriented. If you divide the work into classes and object, then that language is termed as object oriented language. Okay. That is the main difference between C and Java. And in C language, every instruction should be written in the main function only. Every instruction should be written in the main function only. Okay. And in Java, every instruction should be written in the class. Every instruction should be written in the class, main class. In Java, we are writing every instruction in the main class, and also you are saving the program with the name of the main class. But in C language, you can save the program using any valid name. ఏ నేమ్ తో మనం సేవ్ చేయొచ్చు అక్కడ. బట్ ఇన్ జావా యూ షుడ్ సేవ్ ద ప్రోగ్రామ్ యూజింగ్ ద నేమ్ ఆఫ్ ద మెయిన్ క్లాస్. ఓకే, దట్ ఈస్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఓరియంటెడ్, సి ఈస్ ద function oriented. Okay, that is the second difference. And in C language, structure, you have used the structures, but in Java you are using the classes. What is the difference between structure and class? That is already I explained. Structure is by default it is private, public. Structure data is by default public, but class data is by default private. Okay, so using this also we can achieve the some security. Okay, and these are some differences here. Java does not include the keywords go to, size of, type def. These keywords are not used in Java. And data type struct, union, enum, also those data types are also not used in Java. And it doesn't define the type modifier keywords, auto, external, register, signed, unsigned, storage classes, and signed, unsigned, these are also not available in Java. And global variable concept it is not there in Java. In C language, we have learned the global variables and local variables. Global, external keyword is used to declare and define the global variables. But in Java, global variable concept, external keyword, that is not there in Java. And pointer concept, that is also not available in Java. C supports pointers, Java doesn't support any pointers. And header files, in C language you have used the many header files. There is no concept of header files. In place of header files, you are using the packages. In the second unit, you will learn the packages. Okay, in C language you have used the header files, but in Java you are using the packages. Okay, so and also Java doesn't have a preprocessor, and therefore we cannot use hash define, hash include, hash if def. Hash define, hash symbol, hash define, hash include. Hash include means you are including the header files. Hash define means you are defining the constants, symbolic constants. Hash if def. Okay, that is also some type of statements. Okay, so these are all preprocessor directives, preprocessor statements. So this type of preprocessor statements are not available in Java. Okay, and also Java doesn't support any mechanism for defining variable arguments to functions. And Java adds new operators such as instance of some operators. New operators are available in Java. Break and continue statements, and many features required for object oriented programming. Okay, so these are some differences between C and Java. Okay, so main differences is it is function oriented, it is object oriented. There you are dividing the project or work into functions. Here you are dividing the work into the classes and objects. That is the main difference. There you have used the structures, here you are using the classes. Structure data is by default public, class data is by default private. In structure only it contains the variable declarations, data only, but in class it contains both data and methods to operate on the data. Okay, so in C language every instruction should be written in the main function only, so it is function oriented. But in Java, in object oriented programming languages, every instruction should be written in the main class only, so it is class and object oriented. Okay, and in C language you can save the program with any valid name, but in Java you should save the program with the main name of the main class only. Okay, but in C language it is compiler based, but whereas Java it is the both compiler and interpreter based. So to execute the Java by compiler and interpreter both are used. To execute the C program file, only compiler is used. Compiler, when we compile the C file, it generates the .obj file, and .obj file is automatically converted into the .exe file. When execute .obj file, it generates the .exe file. So that is the task of the compiler. Compiler generates both .obj file and .exe file. But whereas in Java, we are saving the file using the extension .java. Now .java file is converted into the .class file, that is compilation. When we compile the Java file, it creates the .class file. Class files are created. Class file, it is also called as the bytecode. Class file is in the form of bytecode. Okay, and when we interpret the .class file, it generates the .exe file, that is machine code. Okay, so to interpret the .class file, Java virtual machine is used. Java virtual machine converts the .class file into the machine code. Okay, that is the difference between Java. C is the compiler based language. Java is both compiler and interpreter based language. Okay, and you have seen some more differences. Go to, size of, type, def, those are available in C only, not available in Java. Struct, union, enum, keywords, data types also available in C only, not available in Java. Some storage classes that you have learned in C language, those are available in C only, not available in Java. Global variable concepts also available in C only, not available in Java. Pointers concept also available in C only, not available in Java. Header files, only C supports header files. There is no concept of header files in Java. In place of header files, you are using the packages. Okay, so here packages, అక్కడ header files use చేస్తాం, ఇక్కడ packages use చేస్తాం. Okay, so and then next some more additional features, and one more point. There preprocessor statements available in C, but in Java there is no concept of preprocessor directives. Okay, preprocessor means hash define, hash include. Hash include, it is used to include the header files. Hash define, it is used to define the constants. Okay, like that, and that is not available in Java, preprocessor statements. Okay, and last 4, these are additional features we are adding. Okay, so Java, what is Java language? It is the features of C language plus some more additional features, that is the Java. We have learned C language. To the C language, we are adding some more additional features to overcome the drawbacks of C language, that is the Java. Okay, what are the additional features we are adding that you are going to learn in this semester? What are the additional features we are adding to the previous language? Okay, so those additional features are called as OOPS concepts. Though what are the additional features? Those additional features are called as the OOPS concepts. Okay, now Java means it is C plus some additional features. Additional features ఏంటి? What are the additional features? Those additional features are called as the OOPS concepts. What are the OOPS concepts that you are going to learn? Okay, so OOPS concepts అంటే మనకి జనరల్ గా so these are the basic concepts of OOPS. Basic concepts of OOPS. Okay, so classes and objects, this is not available in C. It is the feature of OOPS. Okay, classes and object. You know what is class and object? What is class and object? Okay, no need to explain this. And data abstraction. Next OOPS concept is data abstraction and encapsulation. So to understand what is data abstraction and encapsulation, and also inheritance, polymorphism. Polymorphism means name in multiple forms. That is, this we can achieve using the method overloading. Method overloading is the is the example for polymorphism. Okay, the polymorphism is achieved by using the overloading concepts, method overloading. This you have learned. Okay, next, dynamic binding, message communication. Okay, that's all. So these are the basic concepts of OOPS. Okay, what are the basic concepts of OOPS? Class and object, first one. Data abstraction and encapsulation, second one. Third one, inheritance. Fourth one, polymorphism. Fifth one, dynamic binding. Sixth one, message communication. 6 basic concepts. So among the 6 basic concepts, you have learned 2 concepts, class and object. Class and object you have learned. You know what is class and what is object. Okay. And what are the difference between structure and class, similarities and dissimilarities between structure and class, and what is object. Okay. And you have already written some simple programs using class and object. Okay. And the next, polymorphism. Polymorphism, you know what is polymorphism? How to achieve the polymorphism? You can achieve the polymorphism using the method overloading. Method overloading means a function. You are writing the more than one function with the same name but differing number of parameters and type of parameters. Okay, same function name you are using to perform the different task. That is polymorphism. Polymorphism means name in multiple forms. Polymorphism means name in multiple forms. It's a concept of OOPS. Ability to take more than one form. That is, same name can be used to perform the different task. So that can be achieved using the method overloading. Okay, same method we can use to perform the different task. That is addition. The name of the method is the addition. Addition method can be used to perform the different tasks. How? How is it possible? If we pass the numbers, it performs the addition on the numbers. If we pass the strings, it performs the string concatenation. Okay, the different task. Method name of the method is same, addition. But the working of the method depends on the input parameters. If we give the input as the numbers, it performs the addition, normal addition operation. If we give the input as the strings, it performs the string concatenation. Okay. So that is behavior of the method depends on the input parameters. The method, name of the method is same, but the behavior is different. It depends on the input parameters. That is called polymorphism. Polymorphism is achieved through method overloading that we have already discussed. The remaining OOPS concepts, data abstraction and encapsulation, and the third one is the inheritance, and fourth one is the next one is the dynamic binding and message communication. These 4 concepts we can you can learn in the 3rd unit and 4th unit. Okay, abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, dynamic binding, message communication. All these 4 concepts you are going to learn in 3rd and 4th units. Okay, that is, you need to concentrate more on 3rd and 4th units. Okay, and then next come to the object oriented programming fundamentals. There are some basic differences, other differences. ఇక్కడ ఒక ఫిగర్ ఉంది. Data is at the center. Methods surrounded by the data is surrounded by the methods. Okay, that is, you need to understand that in object oriented programming, there it is written object equal to data plus method. Object equal to data plus method. Object means it is the instance of the class, variable of the class. That is, you can also understand this as class equal to data plus method. Structure equal to only data. Class equal to data plus method. Okay. Object equal to data plus method. That is, in object oriented programming languages, data is surrounded by the methods. Data is surrounded by the methods. Only the methods of that object, methods of that class only can access the data. Outside of the object, outside of the class, methods of the methods outside the class cannot access the data. Okay. The class contains both data and methods. Class contains both data and methods. And suppose two classes are there, class A and class B. So class A contains some data and methods, class B contains some data and methods. So class A methods can access only the class A data. Class B methods can access only the class B data. To access the data of class B, suppose class A methods wants to access the data of class B. Class A methods can access class A data. Class B methods can access class B data. Okay. But class A methods wants to access the class B data. How is it possible? To access the data of class B, you need to provide some credentials to class A methods. Then only it is possible. Otherwise, it is not possible. Why? Because class data is by default, it is private. Class data is private. Only class methods within that class can only access. Methods outside the class cannot access. If the methods outside the class wants to access the data, you need to provide some credentials. Okay, some access specifiers provide cheyali. Okay, that is, in that way we can provide the security. Okay, that is, here data is surrounded by the methods. Data is surrounded by the methods. What is the meaning of that? Methods within that class only can access that data. Methods outside the class cannot access that data. Okay. So these are some features of object oriented programming. The first feature is OOPS concepts, OOPS languages. Emphasis on the data rather than the procedures. Procedure means functions. Okay. So OOPS programs mainly focus on the data. It doesn't focus on the procedures, functions. Okay. That is, data is surrounded by the methods. Data is surrounded by the methods. What is the meaning of that? OOPS programs focus on the data, not on the methods. And it provides the security to the data, not to the methods. Methods that operate on the data are tied together in a data structure. That means this is the definition of the class. Class, what is the definition of the class? Class binds both data and methods. That is the second point. Third point, programs are divided into small instances called objects. In OOPS concept, in OOPS languages, the programs or work software is divided into the objects, but in C language, structured oriented language, program or work is divided into the functions. So it is function oriented, it is object oriented. So fourth point, data remains hidden and cannot be accessed by external functions. So it is an example of data abstraction and encapsulation. Data remains hidden and cannot be accessed by external functions. So members or methods within the class only can access the data. Outside the class cannot access the methods outside the class cannot access the data. Okay, this also you will understand in the third unit. Objects may communicate with each other through methods. This is an example of message communication. This also you will learn in the third and fourth units. The programs follow up bottom-up approach. OOPS languages follow the bottom-up approach, whereas structured programming languages follows the top-down approach. So what is meant by top-down approach and bottom-up approach means, in the bottom-up approach, sub-modules will be constructed first, later a main module will be constructed. Whereas in the top-down approach, main module will be constructed first and then later sub-modules will be constructed. Okay. So what is main module and sub-modules? For example, what is the hierarchy of address? Hierarchy of address. Others you can understand this like this. The country is divided into the state, state is divided into the district, district is divided into the zones and then mandals, villages, street, like that. Okay. That is top down. Country, state, district, zonal, mandal, villages, street, door number, like that. Okay. This is the top down hierarchy. Bottom up hierarchy. Okay. Villages and then mandal and then zonal and then district and then state and then country and then content. It is the bottom up hierarchy. Okay. So in the top down hierarchy we cannot extend the project, but in the bottom up hierarchy we can easily extend the project. Extend the project means, in the top down hierarchy, to develop the newer versions of the product, to release the newer versions of the product, or to add some more additional features to the existing product, it is not possible. It is not possible to add some more additional features to the existing product. If we want to add some more additional features to the existing product, you need to start from the beginning. Okay. Whereas in the bottom-up approach, we can easily upgrade the existing product with some additional features. We can easily extend the product. We can easily release the newer versions for the product. We can easily add some more additional features to the product if we follow the bottom up approach. ఎప్పుడు పాసిబుల్ అవుతుంది, ఈజీగా మనం ఎప్పుడు ప్రోడక్ట్ ని లేదా ప్రాజెక్ట్ ని, సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ప్రోడక్ట్ కానీ హార్డ్వేర్ ప్రోడక్ట్ కానీ ఈజీగా మనం అప్గ్రేడ్ చేయగలము, అడిషనల్ ఫీచర్స్ మనం యాడ్ చేయగలము అంటే మనం బాటమ్ అప్ అప్రోచ్ ని ఫాలో అయినప్పుడు అది పాసిబుల్ అవుతుంది. అదే టాప్ డౌన్ అప్రోచ్ మనం ఫాలో అయ్యి ప్రోడక్ట్ బిల్డప్ చేసామనుకోండి, దట్ ఈస్ నాట్ పాసిబుల్. ఓకే, if we follow the top down approach, it is not possible to add some more additional features to the existing product. If we want to add additional features, if we want to release the new versions of the product, you need to start again from the beginning. But whereas in bottom up approach, we can easily add the new features. We can easily release the newer versions by adding some more additional features. No need to start from the beginning. Where it is ended, from that point, you can start the next release, next version of the product. Okay, that is the difference between top-down approach and bottom-up approach. The next point is the new data and methods can be easily added. This is the continuation of the previous bottom-up approach. Bottom-up approach means new data and methods can be easily added. Okay, and it follows bottom-up approach in program design. So OOPS language, all OOPS languages follows the bottom-up approach in program design. Program design means Java software itself, Java compiler itself follows the bottom-up approach. All OOPS languages, design of the OOPS languages follows the bottom-up approach in the design. But the design of the structured oriented languages, functional oriented languages follows the top-down approach in the program design. So in the structured oriented languages, in the functional oriented language, it is not possible to extend the project. But in the OOPS languages, it is possible. We can easily add the new features. We can easily add the new data and methods whenever we want. Okay. These are some features of OOPS concepts and some more difference between the previous language and the OOPS language. And basic concepts of OOPS that I have already explained now. And benefits of OOPS. So this is also similar to the previous topic. Benefits of OOPS means what are the OOPS concepts you are going to learn. Those are all the benefits of OOPS. What are the OOPS concepts you are going to learn? Class and object. Class and object. So class and object. What is the benefit of class and object? It provides security. Okay. And data abstraction and encapsulation. Data abstraction. We are hiding the data. So we are providing some type of security. Inheritance concepts. What is the advantage of inheritance? Advantage of object, advantage of class, advantage of polymorphism, advantage of dynamic binding. అన్నీ కూడా ఇక్కడే ఉన్నాయి. Okay. So repetition. So all these benefits of OOPS you are going to learn in 3rd and 4th units. Okay. Benefits of OOPS means concepts of OOPS. What are the concepts of OOPS? What are the OOPS concepts? Class and object. What is the advantage of class and object? And inheritance. Advantage of inheritance. Advantage of the inheritance. Inheritance అనే ఫీచర్ యాడ్ చేయడం వల్ల ఏంటి యూసేజ్ ఏంటి, దానివల్ల అడ్వాంటేజ్ ఏంటి, అవన్నీ కూడా ఇక్కడ ఉంటాయి. ఓకే. పాలిమార్ఫిజం అడ్వాంటేజ్ ఏంటి, డైనమిక్ బైండింగ్ అడ్వాంటేజ్ ఏంటి, మెసేజ్ కమ్యూనికేషన్ అడ్వాంటేజ్ ఏంటి, అవన్నీ కూడా ఇక్కడ ఉంటాయి. సో ఆల్ దీస్ బెనిఫిట్స్ యూ కెన్ లెర్న్ in the 3rd and 4th units. Okay. If you understand 3rd and 4th units, then you can easily understand the benefits of OOPS. Okay. So after the completion of 3rd unit, again I repeat the 1st unit, benefits of OOPS and applications of OOPS, features of OOPS. Then you can easily understand. Okay. Advantages of OOPS. So advantages of OOPS means this is also some similarities, dissimilarities between C and Java. So it is simple and small. How it is simple and small? It doesn't support pointers, it doesn't support header files, it doesn't support some keywords, struct, union, enum, some storage classes. So అవన్నీ కూడా లేవు, పాయింటర్ కాన్సెప్ట్ లేదు, గ్లోబల్ వేరియబుల్ కాన్సెప్ట్ లేదు. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ వెరీ సింపుల్ అండ్ స్మాల్. It provides a graphical user interface. Okay. It is compiler and interpreter. Okay. Java is both compiler and interpreter. C is only compiler based. So it is platform independent and portable. So we can run Java programs anywhere on any operating system. It is independent. In C language, size of the data types, size of int. In some systems it is 2 bytes, in some systems it is 4 bytes. But if you come to the OOPS concepts, Java, size of the primitive data type, size of int is same on every system. Okay. So it is platform independent and portability. We can easily run the Java software on any operating system. So Java is widely used in the network applications. It is object oriented programming. So it is the project work is divided into the objects, not in functions. Okay. It is robust and secure. It provides more security than C language. Multi-threaded. We can do the multiple applications at the same time. Okay. So those type of applications we can easily develop using the C language. While we doing some work in the Word, MS Word or in MS Excel. At the same time, we can listen to the music. Okay, that is the example of multi-threading. So dynamic, Java is dynamic. So dynamic binding concepts. How Java is dynamic, you can learn in the third and fourth units. So because of all these concepts, it has high performance accuracy. So it is distributed. Distributed means we can run the Java applications on networks, in internet based applications, network based applications. We can use the Java applications. So that is the difference between C language and Java. And these are some Java keywords. You can go through this table. And identifiers. Identifier means same as the variable. What is variable, you know, and how to construct the variable name. Same rules also here applied in Java also. And separators and parentheses, బ్రేసెస్ సెమీకోలన్ డాట్ పీరియడ్ ఇవన్నీ కూడా మీరు ఈ టేబుల్ చూస్తే మీకు అర్థమవుతుంది. The literals. Literals means constants. Integer constants, floating point constants, character constants, string constants. Okay. Next, operators. We have many types of operators. You have already learned in the C language also. Unary operators, incrementing and decrementing. And arithmetical operators, addition, subtraction, multiplication. And relational operators, less than, greater than. Logical operators, logical and, logical or. Bitwise operators. And shift operators. Shift operators. And then next, assignment operators. Assignment operators. All these you can go through the material, you can easily understand. Ternary operator means it is the conditional operator, you have already learned in the C language. Okay. Next, data types. So I will explain the next class.